All right. Well, happy February, everybody that's watching here, and those of you that'll watch this back. Welcome to our team cookbook. February is going to be about CRM mastery. And before we get into that, just a quick little introduction. So my name is, let's go back on that, Brenna. So my name is Siri Rao, and I run a team called the Brand Realty out in San Diego. We have about 60, 70 people on the team and been in real estate for a couple decades now. And really, Beth is going to do her introduction, but our passion is to really just give back to you guys in some capacity that you can grab some information and do better because we've been in your shoes and we just love seeing people grow and learn from our strengths and our mistakes. So, Beth, I will hand it
That's
over to
right.
you.
That's very much right. I'm excited today to Siri has taken time, and we talked about this last month in doing some research. One of the things I'll talk about myself too, but we learned is how many people come to this and they're thinking about starting a team or it's something that they're doing in the future. And, even though Siri and I run bigger teams, so mine is a little bit smaller than Siri's, but growing is it gets really complex, and it's awesome that we have that perspective and we talk about that a lot. But one of the things that's really important is also starting from where a lot of you are at is more in the beginning. My name is Beth Nordowney. I run a team in Minnesota between the Twin Cities and Rochester, which is a community about an hour and a half south of Minneapolis. And like Siri shared, one of the things that we're both really passionate about is running great operations and infrastructure to a team, and have learned so much in running teams and building them, and also like our 20 plus years of real estate, 2 decades. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we would love to share and just, save people from any potential. I don't know. I don't even want to call it a mistake because we learned so much from things that we didn't do right. But there are some things that definitely can help fast track and make your life and your journey more simple.
Yes. And so we can go to the next screen. So I um we're not gonna probably because I can see we have people on the live stream. So as far as Q&A, if you guys wanted to jump on this, we could chat a little bit more about where this is going. Otherwise, feel free to watch. But we're gonna give you a kind of more of a breakdown level of this, what a CRM is and some different CRMs out there, because what we realized as we've been doing this now is that we have gone in really deep and shown you some of our backend systems. And it's very, I wouldn't say complicated, but there's a lot that's been built out on our end operationally. And I think sometimes understanding our audience, which is typically going to be newer agents looking to build a team, or those that have a small team that are looking to scale. And so a lot of those things that we show just kind of go over the head, and we get it. And so what we wanted to do was just break it down to more of kind of a basic 101. And so that's what today's going to be. Feel free to, share this, watch this back, and feel free to reach out and ask us any questions. First of all, some of you may be watching that says, what's a CRM? So I will say when I started the team, I had no idea. I think it was Top Producer. I think Top Producer was like the CRM that was out there. But I really didn't have an idea of what that meant, or kind of how to implement that. So it's a client relationship manager. And what that means is you meet a lot of people, you have opportunities, leads. How do you keep all that straight? Do you just keep it straight in your head? How do you go back and understand how to reach out to them again? Do you just keep it in one place that you can try to like remember at some point, and what's all those things? And so I will say, and I have George here and I always kind of tease him. I'm like, hey, I was really sharp back in the day. I could remember a lot of things. Right? Um, I kept a lot of it in my head, and then I kept a lot of it I use Outlook, and I would just have folders with people. And I made it work for me, and I did a great job, but I could have been a lot more efficient if I just had a centralized place to be able to put all the people, to put friends, family, um, just really organize it. I just didn't do it. I just didn't do it. And so when it was time for me to move into the next phase after 16 years of just using my head and using Outlook, I started a team. And one of the first things that I was told was get a CRM. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And so I had to do some research. So I'm just going to be very honest and transparent. I was like a lot of you guys that are watching and a lot of our audience. I really didn't understand what that was. And so it took me time to be able to sit down many hours. It doesn't just happen that you should do research, and we'll go into some of the options out there and why. But you should do some research on what that means for you, because as you're starting to build this out, it's a pain to take a CRM and move it over to another one. We've done it once and it was a pain. And as you grow your team, it's going to be even harder to do that. So I wanted to go through. So Brenna, if we can show the that first slide of the 10 things. Yep. Okay. So and Beth, I don't know if you have anything to add as far as kind of your journey with, I mean, where at what point did you start to realize like what's a CRM and like do
Yeah,
I need one? And did you pick that up earlier? Or were you like me?
I did. I mean, I think that like I think the reason why I did is my journey was that when I first started in real estate, I was kind of like a transaction coordinator per se. It wasn't really a thing at the time. So I was keeping track of my father. And so maybe it's someone like Siri or someone like myself. And I was like, I don't know how to manage this. And so I did some research and again, this is many years ago. It was Top Producer was like the go-to system. And so I learned how to figure that out. I wouldn't say that we really used it, but like kind of similar to what Siri is saying, I coached a lot of people where, yeah, it's on notebooks, it's in your mind, it's in email folders, it's however it's organized. But the second you decide to hire an assistant or have a team, it's like this relationship manager and is something that obviously is a way you can all work together or someone can support you. And it's really critical. Like Siri, she did it once, probably due to adopting it early and seeing, I mean, we did lots of systems, right? Because as technology changed over the years, there was Contactually, there was Top Producer, there was Boomtown, there was, I don't remember the one in the middle, Agent or Contact. I don't even know like a lot, but all I know and what's important, like Siri said, is that I kind of broke the agents at one point because by the time we arrived on the final one, they were fatigued from all the change in each system, just like I love like Workvivo, right? Like even those shifts are difficult. It operates, it feels different. My business now shifted. And it was like really tough to get everybody who had been on this CRM journey with me to finally adopt this because they're thinking, oh, great, I'm going to put all my clients in here, all my notes in here. And then what if Beth changes it? And now we have to relearn it. So every time that you do that, people just decide, and even yourself, you're going to not fully commit to it and go all in. You're going to just half use it at its base level, and because you're not. So I think that, like you said, it's super important. And I'm sure I love even seeing 10 key features. That's super exciting to think through, like, what is this going to look like long term, and making that commitment to a system. That's awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, so similar journey, you just really have to understand how that can impact your future. This is one of those things where you shouldn't just wing it. I think that there's some things where you can wing it a little bit, kind of fake it till you make it. This is one that you have to have it dialed in early on and really know what you're looking to get. So 10 key features to look for. So, I mean, obviously ease of use. And so to speak on that, um, I think that a lot of team leads, not all, but a lot of team leads do have a logical brain of kind of technology and how things work and all the moving parts. I will say that a lot of real estate agents, and I don't say this to knock them in any way, shape, or form because they have skills in other areas. I will say that a lot of them need to have something that's just very, very simple. Team leads, we like simple too, but we're also looking at if this does that, then this speaks to that. And how do we get all these kind of moving parts together? Agents don't really care about that stuff on the back end. They just want something that's very easy for them to see where the client is, put a client in, move it through the system, get it closed. That's really how it should be. So you need to look at the components of how easy this is going to be and remove yourself as a team leader and look at yourself or look at the agents that are around you and say, how do they best function and how easy is this for them to get in, to adapt quickly? If I bring a new person into the team, can I get them moving into the system quickly? So these are things that you need to think about when you're looking at it. Also, lead management. So you obviously want to make sure that you have, so if you have different portals that are coming in, the goal is to avoid manual entry. The goal is to be able to have it, again, ease of use, to be able to have these leads, these opportunities coming in, and to be able to have it come in easily, to connect, to have it into smart systems that are easy for people to see. And so you really need to make sure that it's not so high level that it's just complicated and it doesn't connect with things. And Beth, feel free to jump in if you have anything to ever add on this stuff. Customization. So I will say, and we'll kind of go into this as we talk about some of the CRMs, that you're going to have CRMs that have a lot of beautiful options. That can make or break you sometimes too, because sometimes more isn't better. So when I say customization, you want to make sure that it's really easy, that it's very simple. You can tweak a few things if you want to and make it work for you. The issue that I've seen is when it's too customizable or there's too many kind of shiny objects in it. I mean, we can come in and just really mess that thing up.
I'm just going to add to customization. As I told you, my multiple CRM journey over years, we looked at systems like Salesforce and HubSpot and some of these that like see it right. You can literally like scratch. That's awesome. And there I'm really thankful we never did that. And like Siri said, just the, customization, and this ultimately goes back to what do you basically need it to do. But I wanted to add here, I'm so thankful I made that decision of also thinking about like what systems are thinking about real estate and have worked with real estate and in a real estate capacity. Because although they may be great at sales or corporations, our world functions very differently. So like Siri said, trying to build all that out and customize it is no easy task, and you really shouldn't do it. So I
Yeah.
think that's important too, is that it's really, they have real estate experience.
Yeah. I know of a particular team that customized, I think it was Salesforce, and kind of to your end there is that Salesforce isn't necessarily for real estate. It's used by many companies, and word on the street and what I'd heard is they'd spent over $100,000 customizing. And then I heard, and again, this is just all kind of what I've heard here, but I've heard that then they're now with Follow Bus. So, I mean, as a company, you're spending all this time to do all these customizations. And I remember I actually saw a training about some of the stuff that was done to it. And I was like, wow, that looks great. At the end of the day, though, that's a lot of money. And it just didn't work out. They went with something else
And to
years
go back
later.
to your
So,
point of like the most important thing is ease of use for your agents, right? So when you even, I love when Pritesh talks about this a lot about real, like there shouldn't need to be an instruction manual. You shouldn't have to do tons of trainings on how to use your system. It should be
yeah.
intuitive. It should be pretty basic,
Yeah.
right? It should be easy to understand. If it's not, it won't get adoption or use. So like you said, even with
Right.
customization, is that even necessary? Because as we usually customize, things get more complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had a conversation the other day. I won't say names of products, but we were on a product that synced with our CRM that basically was an IDX product, that connects the MLS. And so we were on this system for a good couple years, and oh man, it was just so many like just complaints of how to do it and do this and do that. And it just wasn't working right. we switched over to another system that worked with our CRM. I'm telling you, overnight, it all stopped. It like all went away. And rarely do I hear of anything. So, I mean, that's kind of what we'll get into when we talk about making sure that products integrate properly. And to your point, Beth, it can't be so complicated that there's manuals and what do I do and how do I do it. That's not a scalable solution. And so it's very important, these things, to make sure that you understand. When we talk about customization, we're talking about simplified customization, very simplified. Um, Marketing automation. So you want to be able to, obviously, marketing is very important part of getting word out to clients. And so you want to make sure that you have an integration in place that is either within the CRM or something that will connect with an outside marketing automation so that you can take those clients, and if they go into your CRM once, you don't have to manually put them into another system. You can either run it very efficiently through the CRM, or you can easily connect the other system and have it run through. And so that's something else that needs to be, kind of make sure that you have all of that in there, because a CRM is a way to communicate with your clients and keep track of them. And so text, email, phone calls, you can do a lot of those things through that marketing automation from within. And then integration capabilities. So um, we're going to go through some different CRMs. So I my personal journey with that was, we were with a CRM, which we'll go through. And again, I want to say that all these CRMs are great. I personally haven't used them all. I've just done a little bit of research on them. And so I'm by no means going to speak on any kind of CRMs that I've never personally used in a way against them, because I haven't used them. However, what I can say is the ones that I've used and one that's in here, which was Lofty, it used to be Chime. One of the big reasons why, and it's probably improved since then, but I don't think it's improved to the point of what we needed at the time, was that we had a large team at the time, and I just couldn't get it to talk to other things because it was an all-in-one package. And I found some other products that were, I thought, going to be great for us to use, which some we've kept and some we haven't. I just couldn't get them to talk with each other. And of course, as technology advances, these changes will happen and it won't be, as needed. But I still think that there's going to be third-party companies, no matter what, that you're going to want to make sure that you can integrate. And so you do have to take a look at, okay, are these closed CRMs where they really just try to offer all in one? Or do they have more of an open concept where you can connect easier? And not only that, you can also, so we have down here, make sure that it connects with platforms like Zillow, Realtor.com, Facebook, Google, and other real estate tools, because again, you want to make sure that those leads and those opportunities are coming in without you having to, or your agents. It won't happen. Things will slip through the cracks. And so you have to make sure that all of this stuff talks to each other. And so we'll get into a little bit, why, because Beth and I use the same CRM, as to some of the reasons why we use what we use. But that's just kind of a quick little journey as far as the integrations goes. And I don't know, Beth, if you had any, as far as, did you ever have any pain points with integrating or
Yeah, and I just
using
echo that.
things?
I think yes, that there was lots of things that, right, exactly. That's something that's really important, and I think they talk about it a lot, like what is it, open API, or it's an open or closed
Mm-hmm.
system is a technical term. But just like you said, and also if you know that there are systems that you use, looking at what their integrations are, looking at this CRM and what do they have kind of like integrations with that are native or at more natural. I don't know what's the word, not natural. What's the word? Just that they work.
Um, that they
Yeah.
were.
But
There
the
you
point
go.
is like I think about my iPhone and I use Google, we use Google. And man, sometimes I get so angry when I just want to use my map and it like wants to open the Apple map, and I deleted the Apple map because it was having problems, right, communicating, and it wanted to take over everything. And that's kind of what it feels like, right? Is like you want a system that like I can choose what apps per se I want to have on my phone, and what I want to, how I want to have, you know, whatever, right? Whatever you're trying to do, and that it works and it's seamless and it does it. There's other things that don't get in the way. And that's exactly like you said, some of these systems that try to be an all-in-one. And that's one of the things I think both of us in our journey coming to something that is trying to just be the best client relationship manager and letting all these other companies be the best at what they do, whether it's marketing,
Yeah.
MLS integration, and yet we can plug into it and build this like great system that's easy for our agents to use.
Yeah. And I feel like too, like if there's something that we try and we don't like it, we can easily just disconnect it and move to something else. So when you have like an all-in-one, you're going to open those things up and there's going to just be so many things in there. Whereas we can kind of clean up we have a shell and we can add what we need and we can keep it clean and simple without uh squirrel brain happening. Because it'll
Yeah.
happen for us, it'll happen for our agents.
And as the industry evolves and continues to evolve, and it has a lot in systems and the players of who's the best at fill in the blank, or who's the most current with how real estate is being practiced, or what the client wants or what agents want. Like you said, being able to switch those pieces out is really important. But yet my relationships, which is the whole point, and my clients and my notes and my transactions and all that still is there. Yes,
Yeah.
1,000%. Very
Yeah.
basic function needed for an
Yes.
actual CRM.
Yes. Yeah. All right, let's go. So, okay, mobile. Obviously, we need to make sure that our agents have a way to be able to do this on their mobile phone and that it's easy and it makes sense and, they can access at any times. I know that with that, there's also when you talk about mobile, you can also talk about just like the client. Sometimes there's apps where the client can use it instead of like Zillow or Redfin or things like that. That the CRM has an IDX where there's a mobile capability. I will say with what we use, um, we connect an IDX to our CRM. So there's two different ways that the agents can access this information. And so they can still do a lot though through the app through our CRM. And so we haven't really, I don't know, Beth, if you've used like a consumer mobile app much. I don't think our agents really do. I think most consumers are still going to be going to like Zillow and Redfin and the realtor.com and those bigger sites. And so we just kind of keep it that way. We just really want to keep the agents focused on the CRM and the IDX that's connected to it. Now, you're going to have some where, like I said, it's all in one. And so it's all going to be on one app. We haven't really had any systems with having two, and typically we can do it with our CRM app. So I don't know if you've seen that on your end too. I haven't
No,
really heard any
I mean, I
issues.
think again at the Rise conference this year, I think it was spot on. Like people don't want to go to a separate app. Like they're going to use the one that they
Mm-mm.
use for their home search. They're just going to talk to you. You're having that relationship with them, but I don't know if they want to go to an app for the closing company, an app for the mortgage, an app for like, right? I mean, for
No,
you,
and if
the
they have things
agent.
to sign in, yeah, like if they have to remember sign-ins or different places to go, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Agents
So
won't
like,
do it, consumers won't do it. Yeah.
who was that? Who was it? Was it again at Rise? Who said apps were dead? Was it Sharon or Pitesh was talking about that? And that's when they came up with the AI number for this next year with what they're going to
Yeah.
do. But again, just I think as a team leader, what you're talking about that is so true is just keeping that perspective, like you said in the very beginning, of what are we trying to do? Like we're just trying to
Yeah.
manage relationships and all this other stuff. Real's going to come up with things, Zillow, Realtor.com, Google, whatever, and just kind of keeping it simple and letting everyone figure out their stuff and just plug and play with our people.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, so I would say just make sure don't get too far in the weeds of, I guess, what we're saying is don't get too far in the weeds of all the other little bells and whistles that the CRM might have or you might be able to connect to. I think just really focus on the mobile app that the CRM has. It's going to do its job. You're going to be okay. And the consumer's going to find, like to your point, Beth, they're going to use what they use. They
And what
they
you
have a
said,
spot.
and then
Yeah.
you said, and to communicate with them. That is the key.
Yes.
This is to manage people, the
On the go.
relationships, and I can communicate with them. Those are like the two
Yes.
things, right? Because that's so important. And I just want to point that out because that's literally like the most important thing that we do is manage our
Right.
relationships. Right.
Right. On the go. And so, quick little story about that because I love stories. So, you remember when we were just glued to the computer and we didn't really have the cell phone capabilities to be able to just take it with us wherever we went. And I remember just powering away on my computer. It was hard for me to even leave my man the post, right? To just go pick up the kids from school or whatever it was. I was like, oh goodness, what's going to come in? And it was like I had a day where I think I had to run to Target and I was like panicking, but I had just gotten a BlackBerry and I realized that I could actually get the message while I was in Target on my BlackBerry. And I was just like, this is amazing. I just had this moment of freedom that I could still man the post, get what I needed at Target. I probably had to go pick up the kids, whatever it was, right? And so, really, that mobile capability to be able to have something that was just there for me in the moment, I appreciate so much that I think we take it for granted how important that is for us to be able to just communicate on the fly. And back in the day, we didn't have that option to do that.
That's
It
probably
was
why we're
wherever,
so blown away by it. Like I always show that, right? Just that like whole ability of like even, reason like the app or like follow, but just that I can do anything from anywhere. Like it's
yeah,
so mind blowing to
anywhere.
me that I can be anywhere in the world. And that's what's the most important is like that I can see notes, I can see their
Yep.
contact information, I can record a call, I can do anything. Like that's so crazy.
I know. I think it's just the basics though, like you said, right? So that mobile app just needs to, I know we're going on about this one, but like to your point, I think that's why we're just so like this was so like amazing for our
So many
business to be able to
don't,
have
but
this.
a lot of them
Yeah.
don't. Like, it's very
Yeah.
different that, like, how easy is it for the agents or for you to, like, literally open that up and, like, do business from anywhere? And if it doesn't
Yeah.
feel that intuitive, it will be a huge pain point, right? And that's, again, going
Yeah.
back to what this is for.
And I think we overcomplicate it. If you can call from it, you can text from it, you can see information coming in, you have notes coming in. I think it's a great system. Don't overcomplicate all the bells and whistles. So that's my 2 cents on, mobile capabilities on these CRMs. So um task and activity management. So again, this goes back to where it was like I just kept everything in this CRM right here. And so it was like I would just oddly remember, or I had like a system where it was like in the morning, I just always did my follow up and I would just get back to the people in my Outlook folders. So basically, it's the same thing though. So if you have a CRM and you're talking to somebody and they say, "Hey, let's just have you check in within a couple weeks." You can easily set a task in there that's going to be easy for you to find the task that's going to show up on your phone and it's going to remind you, hey, this person isn't ready, but they need a call back in a couple weeks or a couple months or maybe even a year. You need to have something that's just very simple, easy to understand and to just remind you so that you can go on with your day and not remember this conversation again until that pops back up. You have too many things in your brain. And so I think this is a pretty easy one. I haven't really seen too many CRMs that go too outside of all over the place with this one. I think they keep it fairly simple. I don't think you can go wrong from my experience and research on that task and activity management. I will say the CRM that we use, you can set up smart lists. Other CRMs have the same kind of feature. So I would just say when you're looking at these, just take a look and make sure that visually it's simple, it's easy, it just feels good to you. This is just kind of one of those feel good things in a CRM.
And I think one thing I want to say that I've learned in the last just even 2 months, which is crazy, is that the CRM that we both use, I agree with everything Siri's saying. Like it just as simple as managing tasks. But you mentioned the smart list, and I've learned that there's like two different kinds of agents, right? And there's agents that are task oriented. So they
Hmm.
would set a task, and a lot of them, that's how the CRM operates, is that you can set tasks. What's great about again, Follow Up Boss, and we're not getting paid to do this or anything, is like
Yeah.
the smart list feature. Like tasks to me, like having that list or that dot I cross T thing just didn't really work so well. So what they've done is pretty impressive. And not to say you did the research that some other ones don't have a function like that, but just even if it's a stage or a tag or something that triggers a list that every day, it's like, again, it's like when you used to have a personal assistant that would just say, "Oh, hey Siri, you need to call these like 5 people today." "Oh, thank you." And go
Yeah.
on your way, and that's like how
And
simple it
on your
can be.
way. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and so speaking on that, and again, we'll get into follow-up boss here in a minute, but like it's the you have tags and it just literally falls off. And it also just reminds the agents, like if you just follow these smart lists, you make a call, do an email, it falls off, and then it reminds you again, a week or two later. It just keeps you consistent in your follow-up. So they can just jump in, follow the recipe, and off they go.
So the point of it is like it should be that easy. It can be
It
that
should be
easy.
that
Let's
easy. And it should
put
be
it
that
can be.
easy, right?
Mhm.
For you to set it up too. It should
Yeah.
be easy for you as a team leader to be able to set that up, and you have to sit down. And, a lot of these have companies that can do that for you. So that's another thing too. If you're not the best at setting those things up, you'll end up on their Facebook page or whatever it is for the company, and they have people in there that can set that stuff up for you. And then you just follow it. IDX website integration. So some of these CRMs have that built in, which is a great convenience, I will say. And some of them, like the one we use, we have to connect to another service and make sure that they're talking to each other. I will say this is one of those where I love what we're using now. It was great to just have it integrated within. I don't see really any issue. I think it was great to have it in. I'd say this is one of those things where I wish we had it in there. But with that being said, if we ever wanted to change to a different product because something new came out that was amazing, we would be locked in if it was built into the CRM, if it was just an all-in-one, and that's what we would just use. And there's, like to your point, Beth, there's products coming out all the time, and technology is always integrating. I promise we'd probably see something and be like, we need something else over here, because this is what directly ties to the consumer. And so this is really important to make sure that you have something that you can flow with the change of what really works for you. And so pluses and minuses right there, you know? I will say it was nice when it was in there. I do like the one we're using, but I will say that was kind of a bonus of something that we don't have at this time. Reporting and analytics. The one that we were using before, the reporting and analytics was hard to read. I think that they've done some improvements. It was really hard. And it shouldn't be hard, because if everybody's using the information in our CRM, you should be able to just easily pull it up and see what the agent's activity is. And you should be able to see kind of how they're trending. And the one that we use now does a really great job. They have like a leaderboard that we use. We require our agents to get points if they want to get leads. Points equal activity. And I'm just saying, from a leadership side, you need to be able to see what's actually going on and make sure that the agents are using the CRM. Because obviously, if they're just using their cell phone, you're not going to be able to get that data in there. But really pushing that and then getting those reports and analytics back can tell you a lot about the company. It can tell you a lot about why the agents are where they are, and how you can help them improve. So I think this is very important. We didn't have that in the one that we had before at a really good level. There was just nothing I could do. It just wasn't built out. Scalability and support. Support's a big one. You want to be able to make sure that you can reach out if there's something that's not working, if there's a question, that you're going to be able to get quick replies. If something goes down, that they will fix it quickly, because it's technology. It's going to break now and then. I mean, we have times where the text messages don't work, right? And they send us an update that they're working on it, and they get it back up quickly. And so those are important things to look for too. So let's get into, because we actually are cruising on time. Let's get into some of these CRMs. So we're going to start with um, which CRM's right for you. Okay, again, we use Follow Boss. Beth and I both use Follow Boss. And I will say, kind of speaking on it connecting, we are a Zillow Flex team, and so as you know, Follow Boss is now owned by Zillow. It wasn't when we started it, but I knew it was coming. I had little drops of, hey, it makes our life a lot easier as a Flex team. You may not be a Flex team, however, it's integrated really great with Zillow. And guess what? Most consumers use Zillow. So regardless, that is one big up on it. It's very user friendly. It has great lead management, team accountability. So again, like I said, we have like the leaderboards that we use and we show activity. We have a meeting today. We're going to show where everybody's at. They get a little competitive. It's easy to pull. We can customize it just enough for us to be able to use some of our links and how do we use some of our forms and connections. The mobile app's great. And one big thing for us too, beyond the connection with Zillow, was that it was integration friendly. We had some outside things that we like to use as a team, and I just could not get it to link properly with the other system. It just was, using Zapier and using all these extra things just made it really kind of clunky and clumsy for us. And so once we went over to Follow Up Boss, things just worked. They connected. Some of the cons is the cost is a little higher than some of those out there. It's not terrible, but you can definitely find things at a lower price. And if you're looking for more of a budget, but it is, it's got a little bit of a price tag to it. Limited in-depth customization. I'd say it's a pretty raw CRM where you open it up and you have to build it. And so again, there's people that you can connect with to help, but you do need to go in and start building this in some capacity. And then there's no IDX website. There's also there's no website. So if you have your own website, whatever company you use will link up with this. What's cool about that is if you ever wanted to get a different kind of a website, you can still keep your back end that nobody really sees, the consumer, and you can change your front end at any time. So it's just really easy to be able to just not change the internal systems of what's going on. So Beth, I don't know if you have anything to add since we're both on Follow Boss, but this is my favorite for sure.
I I think you said everything. Um, and I just like I just completely agree with everything you said, and it's been a journey. We both have been with Follow Boss for a long time. Landed here a number of years ago. Out of the box, it was easy to use, but like you said, you're able to customize it and build it out, but it really does function. And we both talk about this a lot. And the biggest thing I hear is the cost. I do think it's like, if you think about it, it feels like double, triple, plus like some of these others where you get like the website, et cetera. But what is this business really about? It's about managing your relationships and this communication with people. And if you drop those balls, yeah, you're not going to close as many transactions. You're not going to give as great of an experience. Like, so picking something, and like we said in the beginning, that can grow with you as one person, two people with assistance, 70, 80, 100, 200 people is impressive. And that bill does get really big, right? There's some bills that we
Hmm.
have where you're like, wow, that's insane, but you can't imagine life without it. It's such a key component to everything that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other quick add on this one is it's basic enough, but full of what we need. And there's not a lot of just, again, like the squirrels that will take our agents into different directions. When you open it up, it's just very clean in your face. There's not too many buttons to push because some of these you can do marketing within it at a very high level. You can go over here, you can do that. And it takes your agents off of, they'll spend 5 hours, all of a sudden they're just clicking around on buttons and they never called anybody. They're just clicking and going through all of the things. There's just not that in the back end. It's just really what you need. Call them, text them, email them. Let's get to work. And I appreciate it for that. So, all right. Next one we have is Boomtown. So Boomtown's been around for a while. I don't know that there's as many people. Again, I'm not I don't want to say that I know all, but I don't hear that this one's being used as much. I still see some of the websites out there with Boomtown. I know at one point this one was a big one. They had their own leads, their own ways to generate leads. You can see in here proven lead generation. So they actually will put out your information online so you can have some leads coming in for your agents within the system. It is an all-in-one system. All in one, meaning you don't have to connect an IDX. It has the marketing built in. It has the lead generation built in. It has some great automated follow-ups that I've heard of. Actually, it's a great system to be able to take that off your plate. And again, with AI, there's going to be more and more things that are going to be coming out in all of these systems. It has really great reporting, which again, like I said, reporting is going to be very key. And it is a scalable system. So I think that's where Boomtown really got some legs when it came out, is that a lot of these teams started grabbing it. It's very expensive. It's more expensive than Follow Up Boss. It does have a complex interface, and marketing is a little bit hard to have it be reliable. From what I found from doing some research on this, is that it's hit or miss if that marketing's effective of where it's going. And you really don't have a lot of room to move around in the system to make changes. So again, this is still a great program, and I do know that large teams can use it because it is a scalable program where you can plug and play and really just have this kind of built out system to really get on your feet quickly as a team leader. We just never really explored it on our end. So I don't know if you had any experience with it, Beth.
Yeah, this was like the CRM in like
Mm-hmm.
2011 or 12, I think we did this. And this is what we ran with until we went to Follow Up Boss and did a lot of research. And I will say I agree. And I can't speak to what it's like in 2025 to use this system, but what you're saying is congruent, like with what we experienced. It was like complex. It did, you know what I mean? It was just everything you said. And I think
It
that
takes a lot to build it out.
it takes a
Yeah,
lot to build it out. I can't describe it in a way. I guess, I feel like it was kind of like this big system for these big teams. And again, I don't know what it's like today, but I think that, and it's so funny you keep talking about Follow Up Boss, but it's very simple for each agent to use. So each agent has their own experience with it. And also you can see it on a big scale, but you're not overwhelmed by everything. Where I felt like Boomtown was kind of just like seeing everything. And that was when we had more agents confused, like, should I do this? Should I pay for this? Should I be part of this? Right. Cause like to your point, like there's all
the
these kind of
squirrel.
additional add-on squirrels and yeah, but
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy to see too, like this really came out as like an IDX and a website, right? This was a way to take your CRM plus like the websites they were building were spectacular. It was this in sync, right? And you picked one
yeah,
or the other and they were limited to the market. Um, and so that was like what it was originally for. They had conferences. I mean, man, this was massive. And like look, like not even 10 years later, it's like you said, I don't hear much about this. I hear more. I know I can't remember who bought Sync, who owns Sync now. What is that one?
yeah.
You're
I'm not
probably
sure on
gonna talk
that one.
about
I
it.
didn't bring that one
Probably
up.
gonna talk about
Yeah.
it, but like
No.
it's like not around where FUB was around then and it's around today. So there is
Yeah.
something tried and true, the ones that have made it through all these markets and COVID and everything and are still around. There's something to those systems. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this one's around too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still a great program. It's just it kind of had its glory days. And now we're moving on to some other things. All right. So next one is Brivity. And I actually looked at Brivity a little bit for our team. And the reason that I did at one point was because it focused, you'll see that it has like it's an integrated platform. It has a lot of transparency, and transparency was one of the things that I just really like for our team last year. Our word was transparency, and it really just showed the agents at a high level what everybody's doing, who's clicking on what when. It just was really an open interface of like you could feel and see everything at a very high level with everything. It had lead generation built in. It was highly focused on tasks, and it is great for teams, not was. When I was looking, this is kind of why I say was. There are some interface issues that I've heard of, and just looking at some of the feedback online and different research that I've done, it looks like there's some things that, as best as they connect, there's some failures in the connections. It looks like the third-party integrations are very slim. They really try to keep everything from within. Um, it also focuses on transactions, which you could think would be a pro, but I actually think that that can start to get a little bit too much and too confusing when you're really just trying to focus on the agent and getting them into contract, and then you have all these other parts to it. It starts to just really overload, to me personally, the agent. We try to keep it a lot of that away from our agents. And we have our transaction coordination team and our TC team and coordinators really focus higher on the transactions without putting that too far in front of the agents' faces. Because again, if you squirrel them off too much, they're not going to be focused on going and doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is hunting for new business. They're the hunters out there. Right. And so, as much as I think that is a great all in one system, I feel like it can also be something that is distracting. And so, uh, for me, that was one of the things that that pulled me away from it, funny enough, because I know that they really lay heavy in that. And there's also a high learning curve. Whenever you have that many things in a system, it takes a lot to figure that stuff out. And as a team lead, you really need to just get up and get going on this stuff, especially if you're just getting started. This is a lot. There's a lot there, and you don't need a lot. You just need to get your system up and running, go get agents, go sell homes, right? So that's Brivity. And then Lofty. Okay, so this used to be Chime. This is what we started with. And man, I studied this like when I first got it. You talk about what CRM are we going to use. I took to Chime and I just watched all the webinars. I jumped on all the things, which by the way, you should be doing. You should be, if you're looking for this, you should be studying all this stuff. You should be going in and watching actual, not just what we're doing today, but actually seeing it in use. Like just type it into YouTube and you'll see what it all looks like from the back end. But I studied this thing. And man, I was like a pro at all of it. I'm not that great now. They've had some changes, but it is affordable, especially if you're at Real or different brokerages that have it. It's an affordable platform. It's when I say ease of use, you can get this thing up and running and get going pretty quickly. And I'll speak a little bit more on some other things on that, but you can get up and get going pretty quickly. The automation is great. There's a lot of systems. I know that the AI in there right now is really kicking. They're high tech. It's got lead prioritization, so it'll basically alert you if somebody's saying something and raise their hand. I mean, it's a very intuitive system, and the customer support for us was always great. Now, we had it before it really blew up into the brokerages. I actually found it before it was, I mean, it was tiny, but I still have it actually, funny enough. So as I'm talking about CRMs, I personally, so George and I use our Lofty account for our own personal branding. And I mean, it's always great. Like whenever I need anything, it's great. It's just, it runs, it does all the things. The issue, so I'll go into the cons, is that it's for scalability purposes. It was really hard to get all of the agents to understand all of the things in it. And there was almost just too many click here, go there. You could do your marketing. You have a listing come in. There's all these which there's a click call number. There's just so many things, which I just really wanted our agents to get back down to the basics. And I also could not connect the platforms that I wanted to connect with it. I just couldn't connect anything. I tried, I worked with Lofty, I just couldn't connect it. So for us, scalability was an issue. And from my understanding with large teams, it's still an issue. Now, if you're a smaller team, Lofty could be a great place to go. So a lot of our audience is going to be a smaller agent team network. I would say personally, as much as I love Follow Up Boss, Lofty is a great place. If you know that, hey, I'm just going to be a smaller team, I'm going to have my little crew here, we're going to jam on this, I think Lofty is a great option. When it says not IDX friendly, it has its own built-in IDX, and actually it's beautiful. So if you wanted to use something else, it's not friendly to connect that because they have their own internal, and it's beautiful. It's a great IDX system. So I don't know if you have anything to add on this one.
No, it's curious. I think you did, that's phenomenal. I've heard some people say it's difficult to get set up, and I know you said it was kind of more easy for you. So that's curious to me. But as you speak, I wonder if it comes in with like trying to get things to connect or certain parts of it, because that's the only thing I've heard is I think people like it. It's just the ramp up period is challenging.
Yeah. I think what happens is people start to want that because you have to design the website. You have to when you get the website, you have to kind of like go in and design it. And I think people go a little bit too overboard with their initial want for the design. They focus too much on that as opposed to getting the back end and everybody on there. So that's usually where I hear people saying that they just are a little bit kind of in the weeds with Lofty.
Mhm.
You can hire somebody to do that. So just hire somebody. You can go on Fiverr, Upwork, whatever it is, right? And usually within your brokerage, there's people that do that. If you just put it on
Mhm.
WorkVivo and just say,
Mhm.
hey, I just need help at the front end. But as far as the back end goes, you can jump into that stuff really quickly. It's the design part because you have to design your website.
That could
So
be what it is. So I think
yeah,
that's awesome. That was really helpful. Oh shoot, you have more. How many do you have?
I have one more. This is
Okay.
the last one. I know. This is the last one. So Sierra Interactive. I know. I was like, we're not gonna be able to get through all this. Or I was thinking we'll be ending early. So Sierra Interactive. So this is one that I'm a little curious. I've always been a little curious about
I've
this
been
one because I
curious
know that
about this one. This is the
yeah,
one
this
that's
one
like, mhm,
seems like it's in the running there. And I feel like there's teams that are using it. I feel like they've put some efforts into it. Strong integration, detailed reporting, lead prioritization, customizable workflows, advanced automation, IDX website. Cons pricing, it sounds like it's a little higher, learning curve, complex interface, no mobile app. That if that's true on that last one, which that's what I had found, I mean, that's obviously a big deal there. I feel like this one's one to watch.
mhm.
I feel like this one might be one to just kind of keep your eye on as they continue to build. So just kind of let's go to the next slide. We only have a couple minutes
So
and
that was
sounds
always
like
in my
my
back pocket too. And I
yeah,
always felt the same way as you is like, and when you have something like you said that's working, man, it should take you a lot to pull you away if you got the right system, right? I mean, meaning like,
totally.
and you think once you get something built to it, doesn't matter if it's Lofty or Follow Up Boss, to start over and all that it's going to take to do it. But I agree with you. That's the one that I'm always like, that'd be my
Right?
go-to.
I know you see
Yeah.
people talking about that one now and then. So just to recap, and here's our information if anybody wants to reach out. We have our Instagram handles on here, WorkVivo handles, and our websites. Um, my take on this is we're using Follow Up Boss. I love Follow Up Boss. I think it's great. It's a system that we're going to have. It's a backend system where we can change the front websites. It's just always going to remain there. It works with our with Zillow and different things that we use. That's my fave, right? That's my fave. It's a scalable system if you want to go big and just have something simple all at the same time. If you are looking for a smaller team, just a few of you, and you want something really pretty and nice with all the bells and whistles, Lofty is the way to go. That's my opinion. And one to keep an eye on is Sierra. And that's what I got as far as CRMs, trying to
Love
save
it.
you guys some work
It
in
was so
all
helpful.
things.
I love it. I feel like it was
Yeah.
like, I feel like I'm on some sort of like, I don't know, like I can't think of it like a game show or something, right? Where it's like, or like a talk show where they like, in the morning where it's like, and these are the three sisters. I don't know. It was hilarious. It was
Yeah.
perfect. I think it's very
Yep.
helpful. Thank you for doing the research. I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot of times we talk about CRMs and we always hear the best CRM is the one you use. And there's this, but I think you did such a great job of like, identifying those features so that even if it's not on your list and going back to that and then how you broke that down for each one and being able to see, what are the pros, what are the cons, and then know you're even looking for. And I think that's what a lot of people want is like, even if you
Yeah.
hear that, like, how do I quantify? And that's what you did
Yeah.
is you gave a way to
I
be
just
able
did
to
the
rate
research
it.
for him. I
Yeah,
did the
sweet.
research for you because sometimes, yeah, I'm sitting here saying, go do all the research, see what's going on and all that. At the same time, sometimes then we get stifled and we get frozen and we don't do anything. So I just did it for you. Go get your CRM, go get your team going, study the one that you pick, but I pretty much just chose it for you. So there you go.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I've got some
Yeah,
banshees out here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but they're all starting
they're like
to
waiting.
like gather.
I saw you
Yeah, we
like
got
doing.
I got people like, what's up? So,
Siri
anyways,
doing? She's breaking down CRMs. Yeah.
breaking down CRMs. I know they'd be like, wow, 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 whatever, Siri.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for
Well, we'll see you
inviting me.
guys next month, and that's running the show. Wait, what are you doing real fast next month?
My favorite, like I've done too much like time management and like just kind of efficiency and productivity. So that's
Yep, this is going to be
GSD.
great. Yeah, I may even have my team on it. So
Yeah, you should. I would definitely say, yeah.
seriously,
I was just talking about it today with someone that I was working with, and she's like, I like it. I get it. And at a high level, and it was just made sense. So I think it's just some
yeah.
basic steps of things that you can do to manage your time, which we all need.
Yay. Come
All
see
right.
us. All
Bye.
right. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
See ya.